looking at me.
Hey yo, what's up ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Mighty here and welcome back into another reaction video at your service. It's going pretty good so far. No complaints early at work. It was pretty decent and too long actually. But it's not bad. It's really good. I'm just glad that that little mess is over. So I think I slept well enough, too long actually, and that NXT will start in another couple of minutes or so. So in the meantime, I think there's still a few unfinished business still needs to attend to. Like, if you recall on part 1 from Caddy Cars, which is that he explores of the awful of the skateboard games that he used to love from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And yeah, it is kind of weird that how the name changes that goes from pro skating to skateboarding that is in UK. So I never knew about that. And yet there are some bad ones that really sucked, and that most of the games that I used to play, and that and I still kind of I felt a little bad on myself that I purchased the remastered of the 1 and 2, and I thought it was pretty fun, and that there are some moments that didn't kind of. It should have just been more just remastered instead of being as a remake, don't you think? But I think that needs to be finished. So this is part 2. So without further ado, it's time to react.
I'm so sorry, my darling. You know that I love you, right?
Okay.
SpongeBob SquarePants Surf and Skate Road Trip is a game that... You know what? No, I'm not doing this. I'm not even going to give this game the privilege of an introduction. Here is all the footage of me playing it. It speaks for itself. Screw off. Just so we're all on the same page and we're understanding each other, this is the main menu. I wave to let them know that I'm here. That works. Welcome to the game. I've not been identified. Okay, that's fine. How about I just select a No, select a profile. No, select a profile. No, select a No, select a profile. Don't cancel, select a No! What are you doing? Why are you following my face like to the side? Why is there a big gap there? What do you mean stand back? What are you talking about? What, stand back here? Where do you want me to go? Stand closer. Make up your mind!
You may be wondering why I've invited you all here.
No, I'm not. Can we skip this? Every time I go towards story mode, it doesn't want to stay there, so I'm just going to do quick play. Can this message go? To turn left, step your foot to the side.
It's safe to say
turn left, step your foot to the side.
The connect is
to turn left, step your foot to the side.
A mess.
To turn left, turn right, step your foot to the side. To turn right, step your foot to the side. Step your foot to the side. That's the side. I'm stepping in the side. We were this close to passing the calibration screen, everybody. I hate to see what the game is like if I cannot pass the settings. Copy this stunt pose. So we can handle basics. We can handle basic standing still and lifting arms up to do the beginning of the YMCA, but we can't do anything else. So why is there a whole game built around everything else that isn't standing still and YMCA? Ow. Okay.
Look at me! I'm fast!
Why are you turning left? I'm stepping to the right, you stupid! I don't understand how this game works. Why is this a game? This doesn't work. It thinks I'm turning right when I'm stepping left, and when I step right, it turns left. Look. Oh, look. There's me. Hi. Am I enjoying myself? How am I getting all these points? I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to steer. I'm just trying to steer. How is this... SpongeBob SkyPants, turn right. Patrick, turn right. Please. Turn right, you stupid lumpy pink thumb. I got a boost. I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there. I've got another. How many? I've got another 25 seconds of this to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing a 1 minute long race. And yes, I know you're all probably thinking this is a surfing game, so what's the point of even mentioning it in this video? But the thing is, it isn't. Look, I can confirm from the back of the box that there is indeed skateboarding in this game, which is a shame because I'm never going to see it. Wait, it's not the lighting conditions are right. It's too dark. How can it be too dark? It's daytime. I have the sun. You can't get much lighter than the sun, SpongeBob SquareBob. And then I got myself Skate or Die on the NES. Skate or Die?
Oh man,
Die.
I remember this.
I mean, I've got to be honest, I'm actually liking this title screen. The logo is vibrant and animated, this dude has a fat ass, and this music is happening. I cannot wait to play any longer. Let's jump right in. Mummy, I don't want to play anymore.
I'm a bad boy.
What in the goddamn Christmas pudding is this? Is this Die Hard 6? I'd appreciate it if you stopped looking at me like that, man. I have a feeling your hair has been inside places I don't want to know about. Have you
met my dear boy, Lester? It kind of bugged me out.
I bet he's your dear boy.
So what are you staring at?
What am I staring at? What are you staring at? I'm not the one with eggs for eyes.
Don't you like my do?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember the last time I saw a dark blue garden rake, so no. At this point, I think it would be stupid to go straight into a competition, so let's do some practice first. How about a freestyle match? Which is more accurately a vert ramp match, but whatever. Let's drop in and start things off easy with a 180 spin.
I understood what to do, but each time I fall.
Are all skateboarding games on the NES deliberately unplayable? Whatever you do, whatever button you press, you will crash.
Or master
the only way I racked up points here was just with rolling back and forth, because if I tried anything else, my bones would fall right off of my body, and no matter how long you lie there on the ground motionless, the audience never come to help you. Did he skate or did he die? Yeah, he died.
A light beer with this much flavor should be kept in a secure location, like your hand.
I was already keeping mine in my hand.
Blue moonlight sky. Savor every sip.
What about high jump then? Okay, it's the same as freestyle, but all you need to do now is mash buttons as fast as possible to pick up speed, fly high, have a fit, and then get given the finger. Wonderful. Jam. Oh, what's this one then? So here, you're skating towards the bottom of the screen, beating up other kids with your fists, and disintegrating whenever you touch a fence. And this would be the best bit of the game, but the biggest issue here is the control. In order to attack, you need to hold a direction while pressing a button, but using a directional button also turns you, which you don't want to do. And you'd think that you just need to hold left or right to turn,
if I remember
but
correctly,
no, you have to tap the direction multiple times to adjust where you are pointing. Just like in real skating. The race itself isn't much better either. You're going downhill and your turning is way too heavy. Am I on a skateboard or a library truck? This is just upsetting. Help. My head turned into a fanny. Now we're on to the final game, jousting. Jousting? As in stabbing each other off of a thing that you're supposed to be riding? Jousting? What the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, 3 kids fighting to the death seems fine to me, but who do I pick to send to hell? Well, I'm pretty sure I saw Lester in A Nightmare where he strangled my family, so I think I'll go with the most normal-looking guy. Monsieur Pete. Is he a skateboarder or a French revolutionary? Welcome one and all to the jousting arena, where our child combatants will fight for glory inside a big bowl of rice. Well, it's either that or a hairy old man's head, but whatever the case, this is probably the worst game of the lot. You achingly skate back and forth trying to knock the other kid off of his board with a giant cotton bud, and then make him bend over, stick his wiener in his mouth, and then shove the board right up his butt. Problem here is that no matter what I do, I can't only never hit the other guy, even when I'm right next to him, but he always manages to steal the bat from me and knock me down right back on my thick old legs whenever he wants to do that.
And
Jesus Christ, this is dreadful.
And so, when you have nearly run out of every ounce of hope you had for a good skateboarding game that isn't from Tony Hawk, you then go back to the familiar franchise that will rarely let you down when it comes to skateboarding.
Yeah, you know, the classic skateboarding series. Metal Gear Solid? After the original Metal Gear Solid on the PS1 blew everyone away, with Solid Snake being the only character in a video game able to pull off a 1080-degree quadruple pop shove it, here he is, back at it again on the PS2, and pulling off some steezy tricks all up in Arsenal Gear's rectum. Yes, that's what it's called. You are skating on a robot's poo muscle. This is the most incredible, yet most uncanny thing I've ever seen. Obviously, if you know MGS pretty well, this may appear to be a joke or a fan mod on top of an existing skating game. But no, this is an official Metal Gear Solid skating game with its own kick-ass hard rock remix of the theme song.
Okay.
How did this come to be, though? How do we go from a story-driven stealth action game involving social engineering, conspiracies, artificial intelligence, evolution, existentialism, censorship, and child exploitation, and end up with Solid Snake doing some gnarly grinds on top of a terrorist base? Well, that's because this is actually a bonus feature on the re-release of the original MGS2, known as Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance, but only on the PS2 version. It's a great little pack. It comes with the main game, obviously, but also gives you a making-of DVD, more than 350 VR missions, the chance to replay the main story missions from Snake's perspective instead of Raiden's, and this bloody ridiculous skateboarding minigame built entirely on top of the engine for another Konami game that had just been released, Evolution Skateboarding. I guess they wanted to try advertising this game to me by slipping it into a Metal Gear Solid skin, but they overdid it if you ask me, because I've got absolutely no reason to play that one if I've already got this. Look at it, why would I ever want to play the other one?
And while you're at it, look at this! Disney Sports Skateboarding! Oh boy!
Oh boy!
Alright, am I going mad, or am I the only one here who thinks this intro music doesn't even remotely fit against what you're seeing?
Good lord.
It's almost like taking the characters from a legacy of cartoons in the 1930s doesn't fit in extreme sports culture 70 years later. Do you want your great-granddad to get on a skateboard while dressed up as a clown? Because that's what this is. And in my case, that would be extra bad because my great-granddad is a corpse. If I had to pick anybody to trudge through this, I guess I'll have to go with Max, because at least he stands out above the crowd. And bugger me, does he stand out above the crowd, because the hospital bills this boy must be privy to wouldn't even be able to be paid off by Bill Gates. No exaggeration, if you love falling down and scarring yourself on tarmac, this game is for you, because that's all you do. It's Disney Sports Roadkill. It's hard enough just trying to wield the heavy controls here, but even on this first stage, you will get run down by cars more times than a group of badgers in mating season. It's absolutely exhausting. You just crash into cars constantly, and you never see them coming either. And if you aren't being run down by people looking to cook up a dead dog into their stew, you're playing one of the worst skateboarding games ever made. If, of course, you're even able to play it at all from how it moves along like a slug in a pot of glue. The controls are so rigid here, not only because you have to keep topping up your speed by holding forward, which just doesn't feel natural at all, but you can barely get any air from a standard ollie, making grinds and simple kickflips feel like a lottery. Plus, you need to try dealing with these horrific controls while navigating some of the most cramped and unnaturally awkward level design that would be hard enough to platform across, let alone skate. These are the kinds of controls that run into your granny's dining room and smash all of the china. And if that wasn't enough, this is the most consistently obnoxiously loud game I think I've ever played, constantly yelling at you with a dude bro surfer voice after you do practically anything. Molly, you grab, ow, look out, heel flip, good luck. Great starting gate reflexes. This cat could show us something really cool straight out of the chute. Skater down, I repeat, skater down.
And I shout all the time, so if you're able to annoy me, you've ballsed it.
This game has driven me to destruction and carnage, which is lucky for me since I just so happen to own Thrashers Skate and Destroy for the PS1. But what do I pick on the main menu? Options, or Skate. And what character do I want to pick? Scab? Oh god, your parents must have hated you. I'm choosing you based on that name alone. Oh, and I can make you shirtless? But then we'll see all of your scabs. What's my name? Well, you know what? You can't improve on perfection, so I'm going to keep it as Scab. Now, this game is great. Want to know why? Well, first of all, it's because you don't only push your board with the X button and that's all it does, but it's also because each button on the controller corresponds to a different trick. You ollie with square, but kickflip with triangle and 180 spin with circle. Yes, instead of ollieing and spinning yourself around with the D-pad or the shoulder buttons, you press a single button that spins for you. Sound confusing? Well, wait until you get involved with these stages then. Oh boy, this is as barren and basic as you can get. You only need to get the set amount of points and then exit the level. That's it. The problem is though, because something as simple as a kickflip has its own dedicated button, I can't figure out for the life of me how to grind. I just keep pressing any button after I ollie to see if I snap onto a ledge, but nothing works and I end up turning into an electrocuted crab. Right, can I try that again? Oh no, you're just gonna fall off the board before I even move. Thank you. Why have I put my trust into someone called Scab? Oh, and by the way, the levels have their own exit points that you can accidentally just ride into, because there's nothing I love more in a skating game than leaving the level in the middle of a combo. Oh, look at that. That's exactly how I sleep when I'm having a nice dream. And then all of a sudden the game completely changes perspectives to a police officer with a taser chasing me.
Oh
What?
my
How do I
God.
see what I'm doing if the camera is
Really?
nowhere near me? Where am I? What's the point of this camera angle? I'm not controlling the policeman, so what's going on? Wait, I failed the mission because I lost the cops? Isn't that the entire idea? I'm not looking for an internship at the police station. I'm a skater boy who says see you later, boy. Okay, let's try grinding again, and I don't know, I'm out of ideas. Should I just try pressing the board pushing button?
You're kidding. So let me get this straight. You press the X button to start pushing your board, then hold one of these 3 buttons to ready yourself, let go of the button to do the jump trick, and then press the push button again to grind.
What is it with Tony Hawk rip-offs and never ripping off what made the game so enjoyable in the first place? This is gormless. Who wants to sit there and learn all of these stupid specific actions just to do a single trick that takes 2 button presses in any other skating game? You can't snap onto the rails either. No, you have to land on them perfectly while pressing the push button, because we've got to be realistic in our skating game with edges of curbs that push you backwards and ragdoll physics.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, I hear the sirens coming. It's time to leave the level before the game turns into the police version of Doom. And I lost anyway. Cool. Thanks again, Scab. And I'm really loving this noise that won't stop repeating itself in the background. It sounds like someone's having a stroke, and not the bad kind. Skate and destroy.
Where was the destruction?
Oh, yeah. Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
Another?
I forgot to film anything funny.
Please help me.
Okay, well, terrifying box art aside, could this really be any worse than Disney Sports Skateboarding?
what?
It did come out a year afterwards, so did they learn anything? Oh, what's this? Our good friends at Toys for Bob made a return? Wasn't expecting that at all. And
Oh,
Tony
boy.
Hawk's Raspberry Jam wasn't too bad, so maybe this one is actually good. Okay, wait a sec, hang on. Did I put a Disney game in here or Tony Hawk Jr.? Where are the cartoons? I mean, yeah, this kid kinda looks like Mickey Mouse, but this isn't Disney at all. So apparently when this game was being made, Disney themselves must have run a competition to get one real-life boy and one real-life girl to star as themselves in this game. And the winners of these skating tournaments were the deciding factor. That's pretty cool, I've got to be honest. But why the hell would I want to play as them when I can play as a wide gaping mouth Woody? Or how about Dead-Eye Buzz? Ripped Simba, Inside-Out Teeth Tarzan, or Drunk Pumbaa? What's my name this time? That's easy. Meat. And this game is good. Actually, this game is really damn good. I'm stunned. A game with this cover actually may be one of the best skating games I've ever played that isn't from Tony Hawk, and Woody Bailing looks hilarious. If you want to play an explorative, mission-based collectathon skating game, but don't want Tony Hawk and want to skate around as a goddamn elephant, you play this. It even caters to newcomers and young people with a special kid mode that gives you automatic grinds and special tricks just for pressing singular buttons. And then the pro mode is exactly like regular Tony Hawk, with all the familiar button layouts and direction input styles to make tricks happen. And I must stress for a second, if you make a skating game, copying Tony Hawk controls entirely is not a requirement and doesn't automatically make your game good. If you've got an original take, I'm all for it. But the thing is, the Tony Hawk control style is so simple to grasp and makes perfect sense for veterans or beginners. Whereas going too out of the box with something like Thrashers Skate and Destroy, with separate trick buttons and a push button that's also a grind button, is so unintuitive, it's almost like you playing a driving game that swaps the left and right steer controls around. It's the same reason why most first-person shooters nowadays use triggers to aim and fire and the right stick to move the camera. Yeah. Tony Hawk games just found the perfect style of control for this kind of skating game, and improving upon it isn't really possible if you ask me. Hence, Toys for Bob had the very wise idea to license and then utilize the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 engine to make this game. The point is, in this game, you get to skate with your favorite Disney character, Birdie! The gameplay here is awesome. You complete missions by exploring the massive levels and talking to all the characters who need help, while collecting objects hidden all around the area to get you better accustomed to the design of the game. As you finish missions, you unlock more skaters from each Disney movie series, more levels from each Disney movie series, and more customization options for your very own creator skater, where you can end up making some nightmare creations. With my overhanging tummy and fat ankles squeezed into tiny boots, I look just like Honey Boo Boo. Oh, nice.
God, no.
You can make your kid wear a thong. All of a sudden, Disney gathering all these kids together doesn't sound so fun. Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure is fantastic. I highly recommend it. If you take a Tony Hawk game, remove the men being sick in toilets, and then slap Buzz Lightyear on it, you get this game.
And hey, while we're on the subject of Disney...
Nothing.
Yeah, did you forget that Disney owned The Simpsons? I forget that at least once every 2 days. But I'll never forget the first time I played Simpsons Skateboarding on the PS2. Yes, once again, I'm revisiting another game from the vaults of my old horrible reviews. Like a cockroach after a nuke, my past always comes back to make me itch. What's this? No memory card?
Oh, what a shame. I guess that means I can't play the game anymore. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'll see you on the next Caddicara show, same time next week.
Damn.
Where I'll be stomping on a kitten live on camera.
Well, hey, look at that. The first thing I see in this game is something that makes absolutely no sense. And the sad thing is that this still makes more sense than anything else you're about to see. The intro to this game is quite simply hideous. One of the worst I've ever seen. It's just a barrage of colours and an onslaught of ugly edits enough to give you a seizure or make you feel like you're dying from leprosy. I mean, look at this. Come on. They couldn't even cut out the white in between Bart's armpit. And then after possibly the worst intro of all time, you get greeted to one of the worst opening themes of all time that either sounds like your CD is scratched or you're having convulsions. After this, well, this screenshot here should tell you all you need to know about the level of quality we're dealing with. Marge looking like a squid, and Homer looking like a week-old can of Spam. This is easily one of the ugliest PS2 games ever made from the starting gate, and then you actually get going and think to yourself, oh, you know, maybe I should try doing some tricks on the ground right now, like in every skateboarding game ever made. But oh no, you can't. Oh no! No joke, if you try to do something as simple as a kickflip, 75% of the time it won't work, and you'll be eating some grass-covered din-dins instead. Once again, you've got to push yourself along with a forward push without automatic acceleration from holding down your ollie button, taking all the flow and momentum out of the gameplay, but I'd be able to get my head around this if the game let me push my board up slightly steep slopes, or let me get out of half-pipe bowls that I can't escape from. But you can't. This then compounds with an absolutely pathetic ollie that sometimes flies you up to space and other times barely leaves the ground, meaning that you won't clear gaps, and sometimes you'll just accelerate from 0 to piss off in half a second. Absolutely nothing works in this game. It's actually a miracle how broken it is, as well as ugly. I mean, you look at that and tell me that's a person. That's not a person. It's a mound of beef. Don't forget the overly sensitive balance meter either. Or the fact that you have running commentary from your character and Kent Brockman throughout the entire game, and none of them ever shut up.
Oh no!
Kick flip. Cover it. Tail. Radical. Very well done. Well done.
Sure, you could always argue that all these different characters have different stats that are better for different kinds of skateboarding tricks, but what I'm going to say in response to that is that Tony Hawk also has that system, but you're not absolutely incompetent at the start of the game. You can still do things, even if not as good as you will be able to later, but here, you can't do anything. I mean, look at this. Most of the time, you can't even grind anyway, and instead have the rail stick itself through your head. Personally, though, I didn't do much else, because I decided to give up after I got decked in the head by a car, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then Ken Brockman said,
"Give it to me, baby!"
While Lisa said for the 47th time, "This is absolutely, categorically definitive garbage. The Bubsy 3D of sports games. Probably one of the worst ever made." Sure, Phoenix Games had this abomination 5 years after Simpsons Skateboarding, but that's Phoenix Games. They probably put a blank disc into a sandwich toaster and then said, "Game's done!" But considering this is The Simpsons and sold at a much higher price than a Phoenix game ever would, I'm shocked that no one seemed to care if this game even worked.
Oh, was that harsh, was it? Was I a little bit mean? Did that hurt your feelings? You think that was a little bit too far? Have you played this thing?
I don't know how anybody in the dev team tested this and thought it was passable. It's borderline impossible to play. It's not even so bad, it's good. I don't feel any misguided passion or overinflated egos behind the creation of this. All I feel is the bitterness of an entire team who didn't want to make this. Considering it was aimed at kids as well, who probably didn't know or care who a Tony Hawk was, it's probably the most cynical cash grab ever made for a licensed game. It copies the Tony Hawk level design, Tony Hawk game structure, Tony Hawk mission style, and even Tony Hawk button layout, but butchers every other element up so magnificently, it makes me question why they didn't just do a full-blown rip-off of Tony Hawk entirely. Sure, it would have been unoriginal, but it would have been a good game. Look at this. If you even somehow manage to win a single thing in this game, all that satisfaction and frustration is spat back in your face as you only make 10 cents for it. 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 10
This is the closest thing to crazy I have ever been.
Wait, are you telling me that I'm going through all of this toss for a grand prize of $99? Are you insane? I use that kind of money to blow my nose and wipe it on homeless people, and you're expecting me to nearly die for that? $99? Shred Springfield?
With pleasure. Okay, then, if a Tony Hawk ripoff can't give me no satisfaction, then I'm gonna have to run back into the arms of the man himself. And what better way to go back to him than with Tony Hawk Ride on the Xbox 360. Tony Hawk rode off.
So this game, this bloody game here, this 7th generation console classic, just so happened to be developed by Robo Modo, the same lovely chaps behind Tony Hawk's Pro Hate My Life 5. And immediately you must be asking yourself, why such a big books? Well, because this entire game is controlled by this infernal thing.
Oh yes, by using your body weight and these fancy sensors dotted all over the board, this game expects you to have some tiny amount of skating ability before going into it, or at least the experience of being able to stand and weight shift on a board. And I'll give credit where it's due. This thing is solidly constructed. It's not that flimsy. In fact, if you stuck trucks and wheels on it, you could feasibly skate on it. So, well done. Which also means I can smash it over and over again against a wall and it will never break.
Wow, after 10 years of games, I can finally ride Tony Hawk. And in order for you to see what the hell it is I'm experiencing, I decided to install this special Gym Jam cam so that you can get the best view of every angle once Tony Hawk gets ridden. So right off the bat, this game begins in the dumbest way I've ever seen. Why go to the effort of making a super expensive experimental gaming peripheral and then put controller buttons on it, including a start button, only to then tell me that I need a controller to navigate the menus and hit the start button on that anyway? If we were going to do that, why don't we just, I don't know, play the game with the controller?
This skater just turned pro, and now look where we're at. This is a true Cinderella story. Just a few days ago, they were called up by P-Rod for a special mission in Southern California.
Oh, okay. Is that it? That's our story? That was terrible. What even was that? That explained nothing at all. Does Tony have scurvy?
What you have in your hands is one of the most advanced game controllers ever made.
Oh, you don't say.
Here's my skater, and his name is Bungalow because his hair looks a bit like a thatched roof. Now, if you're a little concerned about playing this because you've never touched a skateboard in your life, I really wouldn't worry. Firstly, because this thing doesn't slip, and you are not going to fly out the living room like... And secondly, because even if you have a little bit of experience, like me, you will not make this game work. I repeat, you will not make this game work.
I didn't even do that!
Oh sure, I can push the board, I can manual, and I can certainly ollie, but performing specific tricks is an utter nightmare. This board cannot read the more subtle motions it needs to activate certain tricks, and so on this tutorial here, the first 3 minutes of the game, no matter how many damn tries I gave it attempting this trick here, it never, ever worked. What am I doing wrong here? Am I not riding you hard enough, Tone? And this is just for the tutorial. Sometimes even things as basic as an ollie doesn't even register. For a game so focused on performing tricks and keeping balance at high speeds while jumping onto objects, the fact that this controller only lets you perform something as basic as a jump sometimes is enough of a reason why it's a piece of shit that should never have been released. If a new player has just as much chance and luck performing a trick as somebody who put hundreds of hours into it, the game probably blows. And taking that aside, the gameplay that you're treated with here can't be enjoyed, since you approach every single objective in exactly the same way. That being, you just trying to make a move happen. Forget combos, forget doing specific tricks over specific gaps or anything. You're just trying to do the basics from the start to the end. Mix that in with some pretty motion sickness inducing graphics, and all the elements blend into a delicate mix of piss and vinegar.
You're joking.
I don't care about what fancy tech you have. I just want to spend my money on a game that works. And Tony Hawk Ride does not work. And even if you get it working, it's murder on your legs. Come on, this is a video game to play for fun, not boot camp for the Navy.
You can sail the 7 seas.
Look, I just got some of my highest scores and fanciest tricks just rocking the board in any direction I could. How is this fair? And check this out, I was able to get better and more consistent results by sitting down on the shitting thing. How is it that I can't do this? But by sitting on my stupid ass, I'm able to do this. In fact, how could they even say this is the most realistic skating game of all time when Tony Hawk's own series already said that itself a few games ago in Project 8? So real, you don't just skate it, you feel it.
Yeah. Happened again. I rambled on for a bit too long. But just let me ramble for a tiny bit longer because I really need to wash the taste of Tony Hawk out of my mouth.
And I'm going to conclude this bone-breaking journey quickly talking about, in my opinion, the best skating games that are not Tony Hawk. The Skate Trilogy. The thing that makes the Skate games so brilliant is that they don't copy the Tony Hawk control style at all, but give you a control scheme that feels just as natural as Tony Hawk, while at the same time being 10 times more difficult to get right, but 10 times more rewarding to nail once you do get it right. You want to know how these games work? Okay, you push the board with A, grab the board with your left hand with the left trigger, use the right trigger for your right hand, and everything else is done with the analog sticks. Turning left and right, slowing down and even pumping your body weight up and down ramps to build momentum is done with the left analog stick, while the right analog stick just has a bloody party with your thumb, as you need to pull it back and then flick it in certain directions to perform ollies and flip tricks. Depending on the direction you push or pull the right stick to ready a trick, and then depending on the shape your thumb makes the stick move as you flick it, that's how you perform tricks. And some of the more impressive tricks do feel incredible to pull off once you get the hang of it, especially when building it into a combo. Oh, and you also push the right stick forward halfway or pull it back halfway and hold it to stay in manuals, which, if your thumb is very precise, can also be linked into more combos. You even need to angle yourself correctly and apply the correct amount of speed to your stick flicking in order to correctly land on rails to grind them without jumping too high or too low. But because the physics feel so grounded and the speed realistic, it feels way more natural here than the insanity in Tony Hawk, which needs to make you snap onto the rails or else you'll overshoot every grind in the whole game. The Skate Trilogy takes what is, on paper, one of the most player-unfriendly and insane control styles for a sports game of all time, and manages to weave the impossible into a ruthlessly challenging, yet unbelievably rewarding series of games, and I love them. You get brilliant career modes, incredible soundtracks, some of the deepest customization in a skating game, real-time replay editing with multiple camera angles and effects, tons of stuff to unlock, and the main gameplay features and control style just kept getting more refined in each game. Up until Skate 3, where in my opinion it kind of implodes on itself. I mean, I do love the improved camera in that game, but oh, this no good. Skate 2 is probably my favourite from the trilogy though. 1 is a great time, but definitely feels like the first game in comparison to Skate 2. In that game, there's way more to do, it looks beautiful for the Xbox 360, runs at a consistent 60 FPS, and it feels much tighter to play and less loose than the first game. Your board felt like an extension to yourself, more than an unwieldy beast that did whatever it wanted. Not to mention, this game gave you the ability to get off your board and walk around when you couldn't skate to certain areas, and you could fail tricks by just tripping over and losing the board instead of falling flat on your face every single time like in Skate 1. Oh, and how about those multiplayer modes for the party games? Hall of Meat! Oh, Hall of Meat, I'm looking right at you. A local multiplayer mode dedicated to you trying to deliberately outperform your partner in the most painful and insane bails you can while jumping off of ramps the size of skyscrapers. You can't not love this feature. Skate 3 is a good game, I guess. It's basically more of Skate 2 with a few added bells and whistles, but it ended up taking away a few other things, and it's glitchy up the hole. I'm sure you've all seen enough glitch compilations on YouTube to know that little tidbit. Yeah, Skate 3 has the park editor and the X-ray feature when you break a bone after a bail, but the local multiplayer is piss compared to 2. And again, this stuff kind of gets in the way for me. Look at the AI in Skate 3. It's practically suicidal. No other skate game I played had other skaters interrupting my tricks more than in Skate 3, or random pedestrians just standing around questioning the meaning of their existence. For me, no other skating games feel as much like you're climbing up the ranks in career mode as the Skate games. Not only because the missions mirror real life much more, unlike Tony Hawk's arcadey silliness, but because the open world here feels as close to a regular location as you would see in real life. Yet, everything has been carefully designed to be skateable, and the speed that you can reach is extremely cathartic. Everything here feels so down to earth, chilled out, and because of that, all the more satisfying as you impress magazines, perform for photo shoots, and edit the pics yourself, and then get sponsors as you climb up to being a pro.
The most recent Skate game came out in 2010, 10 years ago. Christ, thanks EA.
EA Games.
Piss off everyone. everyone.
But if you don't want to dust off your old PS3 or Xbox 360 to try these out again, don't worry, because I managed to find 2 games on Steam made by indie devs who are trying to carry on the legacy left behind by Skate. Session and Skater XL.
Now don't worry,
Okay,
this
I
won't take me too
remember
long to
this
discuss,
one,
because Skater
Skater
XL is a
XL.
decent attempt at the skate formula while standing out with a unique left foot on the left stick and right foot on the right stick system, but it costs way too much money for a game that doesn't have any real meaty content to it. And Session is in early access, which is all I need to say about it, because hot damn does it feel like it's in early access. That, and I just can't get my head around these controls. You fall off of your board so much as a gust of wind breathes on you, and this tutorial here is arguably more difficult than standing up.
Oh my.
Like, you hold the right stick down or the left stick forward to bend down, then flick the left stick or the right stick to pop up the board the opposite direction, and you can't grind on a rail unless you push both of the sticks in opposite directions and hold them while you're landing on the rail. I can't. I appreciate the effort here, but my fingers can't bend backwards. And I would love to check out this new game called Deck Splash, but that ended up being cancelled, which I'm happy about because that sounds too much like Dick Splash, so I'm gonna go back to Skate.
Isn't that
Hey, wanna see a trick? That wasn't me, and now we're at the end. The thing is, guys, there's only so many different ways I can tell you how a skateboarding game plays because they all really set out to accomplish the same thing. So, I'm gonna go while doing the coolest trick that I am capable of doing. Bye!
Bye. Why? Why? I
God
don't
damn
get
it, Brick! Subscribe and hit that bell.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, or I'll shove a skateboard right up your...
Special thank you to my executive producers
Excuse
on my
me.
Patreon page in the description below. Trepidanos, Damien Castaway, Inflim, The Classy One, Carge the Mage, Dredge and Bungo, Michael O'Donnell, Kenneth D, Ethan Spencer, Lizzie in a Tizzy, Heartfire, Abyss Wraith, Matthew Gunthorpe, Kyle Burke, Greg John Richard Howard, Stephen LeBlanc, Matthew Heineman, Iron Ninja, Steve the Weave, Daniel and Alex, X Shadowhunter ZX, Red-Eyed Critic, Skullman, TARDIS Type 40, The Game Shed, Ramen Wolf 1485, Slowpong, Mitchell Reed, A.D. Thornton Smith, Anders Amdell, Nightshade 96, and Basil.
Stan. Leggy boy.
Okay. I do remember Skate 3. I just didn't contradict how that's terrible and that it's all glitchy. But I'm you know, there are some games that I never knew that existed because I don't have GameCube. Because even if I did, there is no way in hell that I would ever play a Disney game that would be, you know, extreme, especially the opening that doesn't quite fit to any, let alone Mickey Mouse be shredding on doing the ollie rails, because that would be so awkward. But the other game, the interactive, it's actually pretty decent. But for the PS2, I never owned Metal Gear Solid, let alone has a with a subtitle of Substance, because it would be so weird and fun at the same time doing on the skateboard mode. Yeah, what were they thinking? I guess they just wanted to have something, ideas that they just want to have something to be fun with. I get it, but it's just at the same time it's just weird, and that's one of the things that I never play any Simpsons games. Even if I could, I'd rather just play of the arcade. That's even much more fun, don't you think? Well, I think that's pretty much that's all for today. But there are more requests I am going to be working on. So once again, let's give it up for EBF for this request, and that Catty Carcass. I never knew that he was a skateboard. I mean, well, a skater is what I meant to say. And I don't think that there was a ride version of the PlayStation, not to my knowledge. But That's one of the reasons that I'm more of a PlayStation guy. Yeah. Well, I think that's it. So hit that like button and also leave the comments down below, and I will catch y'all in the next video. So take care, guys, and be safe.